Hey everyone, Mitch coming up with the Creator Score Studio. Welcome to the show. So, yeah, crazy things are happening in Magic. What's new? Just crazy things left, right. Just like, oh yeah, okay, we're done with this. Okay, now here's this. An absurd amount of, I don't even want to see at the end of the year. You know, just like last year, I think I did like here's, you know, the chart of, you know, cards and, you know, Magic essentially have come out. And it's just going to be more ridiculous this year. I mean, the number of commanders that come out every year have like doubled, tripled every year or whatever. And not basically that, but still, it's an absurd amount. And now the number of cards that are coming out, the number of products, it's really tough to keep up. And I'm trying my absolute best. I'm trying to help you out with this as well. So on this episode, I'm going to be breaking down every single one of the cards, except for one of the Doctor Who cards, I guess. I was really ambitious to start things off, and I did a full quick take on the craziest commander that I saw out of all the Doctor Who spoilers. If you haven't seen the episode, make sure you check it out. But yeah, then I soon realized there's just too much for me to handle. There are too many cards for me to do quick takes in the normal way that I do them. That came out too quickly. So, yeah, I'm just going to do one giant episode on all these. So please excuse, yeah, how long this one might become. And also excuse me on never having watched Doctor Who. So I don't know any of the references or any of the characters. And I know there's a lot of Doctor Who fans out there. I think they're really cool cards. But yeah, I know absolutely nothing about the characters. So please excuse that. Regardless, let's jump into it because there's some crazy new cards. What in the world is going on? Here we go. The face of Bo. And I apologize if I mispronounce anything. Anyways, this is apparently Bo's face. Hi, Bo. It's a giant head in a jar. Cool. Anyways, 0/4 Alien Advisor for 1 blue, red, white. Legendary creature, of course. So it's going to be a commander and a spicy one at that. Tap, you may cast a spell with suspend from your hand. If you do, pay its suspend cost rather than its mana cost. Activate also sorcery. Okay. So this one basically just gets around mana cost essentially and also suspend. So this one's quite interesting because, I mean, first up, of course, the first place that my head went was yeah, those suspend cards that don't have a mana value and you can just, you're only supposed to be able to suspend them, and now this is like, oh no, cool, yeah, you basically just get bribery for cheaper. Yeah, that's the first place my head went. Also things like Greater Garagadon, which are like, hey, suspend 10. I mean, it has other things as well, like sacrifice things, but basically suspend 10. And it's only a single red mana, so you can get like a giant creature for just a single mana. You can get a lot of cost reduction essentially with this, like an absurd amount of cost reduction, because typically suspend has a lot of downsides to it. Not downsides, but like a longer timer, obviously, on it, depending on how powerfully effective it is and how much mana you are going to be saving with that suspend cost. So yeah, instead of just actually waiting for that, this is like, no, we're not going to wait. We're just going to, instead of actually suspending it, we are actually just going to cast that, which is really, really cool. It's a very, very cool concept. One that I kind of wish, well, I'd say a lot of suspend cards probably are in these colors, but I kind of wish this was a 5-color commander so you could just get access to all the suspend cards, because there really aren't too many like suspend. I mean, there's like commanders that do suspend, like Joyra, but there aren't commanders that like interact with suspend really all that much. So yeah, this is a very spicy one that I can see very, very popular. And I do think, again, this one also really heavily benefits from untap effects a lot. So yeah, tap it, cast the suspend card for a giant reduction, essentially. Untap it with an effect, maybe like Jeskai Ascendancy, essentially. That can work very well with this one that's in these colors, essentially. So anytime you cast it on a creature spell, cool. Untap it, do it again and again. Get a ton of value out of something like this. Yeah, I think this one is just very, very spicy. I think it might be one that I have to build around. And again, just a giant head in a jar thing. Cool. What's not to love about that? Doctor Who fans out there, let me know what's going on about the face of Bo. I don't know how Bo talks. Anyways, moving on. Davros Dalek Creator. Now, I do recognize Daleks. Yeah, I do recognize that from, like, you know, culture and stuff like that. Anyways, popular culture. 3/4 Alien Scientist, apparently. Artifact, creature, legendary. 1 blue, black, red. So, in Grixis, Menace. Beginning of your end step, create a 3/3 black Dalek artifact creature token Menace. If an opponent lost 3 or more life this turn, then each opponent who lost 3 or more life this turn faces a villainous choice. You draw a card, if the player discards a card. Keep in mind, this is just your end step, so you're only getting 1 Dalek on each turn, essentially, each turn cycle, potentially. Obviously, an opponent has to lose 3 or more life for that to happen. Each opponent who did lose 3 more life. So if you've got some drain effects, which would be very, very beneficial for you. So yeah, Zulport, Cutthroat types of cards, or just cards that just drain all your opponents, like Exsanguinate, those kinds of cards as well. Repeatable ones are going to be great for you, essentially. Yeah, you can get a lot of value out of this. You're either going to be drawing cards, which is not good for your opponents to be like, yeah, here, sure, just draw cards. Great. All right, cool. If each opponent does that, let's say each opponent loses 3 life. Each opponent does that, you're going to be drawing 3 cards each one of your turns. That's going to be pretty deadly, pretty crazy. Of course, you've got more ways you can take advantage of that. You could have Psychosis Crawler, which already can just be good with this commander as it is to drain your opponents when you're drawing cards. You can obviously have Thought Reflection to various Ageless Insight, those cards which double up your card draw as well. Or, I mean, like, hey, if your opponents are like, yeah, sure, I'll discard a card, it's still land, whatever, I'll just get rid of it. Yeah, you kind of ways to punish them for that as well, like Megrim, cards that actually say, like, oh, you discard a card, cool, take some damage or some loss of life, essentially. So, yeah, you can really, really punish your opponents with something like this. It's a pretty gross commander. Yeah, if you're going to build a deck around it, you can do some pretty gross and mean things. And, yeah, just having Dalek Tribal could be pretty fun. I'm sure that's going to be a thing, right? Moving on. Missy. Apparently that's a character. Just Missy. No other text after that. 4/5 Time Lord Rogue. 4/3 in Grixis colors. Whenever another artifact creature dies, return to the battlefield under your control, face down in tapped. It's a 2/2 Cyberman artifact creature, and I think I've got a token to show somewhere of the Cyberman. At the beginning of your end step, each opponent faces a villainous choice. Each artifact creature you control deals 1 damage to that opponent, or you draw a card in Chaos Ensues. Crazy things. So yeah, apparently, again, it does say non-artifact creature. So that's specific because, again, these Cybermen are going to be artifact creatures. I guess if you have a way to make them into not artifacts, I don't know if there's a way to take off that. There's probably a way to go infinite with this. If it's like you take off that it being an artifact and you get to sacrifice and make another one. I'm sure there's a way to do it. It's probably pretty complex, but or very simple. I'm just missing it. But yeah, being able to say, hey, whenever any non-artifact creature dies, not just your own, anyone's creatures die, you basically get it as a 2/2. You essentially get that as a 2/2 artifact creature, which is pretty good. I mean, very good to just be like, hey, cool, any creature dying, including mine or my opponent's, I'm getting it replaced and getting a 2/2. And also, again, hey, each artifact creature you control deals 1 damage to that opponent. You're going to be building up your artifact army quite quickly. Of course, obviously, outside of that, you can just make artifact creatures in different ways. And then also, yeah, deal damage to opponents, or you're going to be drawing a lot of cards in Chaos Ensues. So, some pretty gross things can happen with this commander. Yeah, they're starting to see a pattern of these, like, I'm assuming these, like, villains from the Doctor Who universe. I could be wrong. I have no idea. But yeah, doing some pretty gross things. Yeah, make your Cyberman army and have a good time. Next up, the Valiard. Looks like a judge person of some sort. I don't know. 4/5 Time Lord Noble for 2 and Grixis colors. If an opponent would face a villainous choice, they face that villainous choice additional time. They can make the same or different choices. So that's interesting. That's kind of like voting, but voting twice kind of in that. Also, it says while voting may vote additional time. That's quite nice as well. So yeah, kind of like a vote tribal commander, utilizing those cards again. They're like, hey, everyone gets cast a vote. Kind of like that Sphinx commander that does that essentially. I can't remember the name of it. Anyways. It's in Esper. But yeah, this one also kind of is more choices, right? So again, we're going to be seeing more of these villainous choices. We've already seen a couple. But yeah, villainous choices in this in these cards essentially, and saying, hey, you got to make some tough choices. Again, that one was like, hey, I draw a card, or you discard a card. Now it's like, do that twice. So either discarding 2, or I'm drawing 2, or 1 and 1. Some gross things can happen with this. I'm sure there's going to be even more cards that really interact with it well. And again, yeah, just utilizing all those vote cards can be really cool as well. So yeah, definitely a commander that's going to be built in some interesting ways, maybe some political ways, maybe some ways that can control votes too. So just do some pretty disgusting things. So have fun with that. Next up, the 13th Doctor. How many Doctors are there? Let me know in the comments below how many Doctors there are. I'm sure is it 1 for each season? Is that how it works? Like in a season, they replace the Doctor? Is that how it works? I don't know. Anyways, 2/2 Time Lord Doctor. For 1 in Simic colors. Whenever you cast a spell from anywhere other than your hand, put a +1 counter on target creature. Players have been loving casting spells from places other than their hand lately, especially like, the impulse draw stuff. Now that's not really in these colors still. There are ways to cast things off the top of your library, like Future Sight with this, or things from your graveyard, like Flashback, those types of things as well. So there's plenty of ways to do that, plenty of ways to get counters. Of course, if you've got ways like, Hardened Scales to get even more counters, Doubling Season to get even more counters on things, great. Or creatures that benefit from you casting and getting counters on things, like, like I think Fathom Mage, is that the one that's like, hey, get a counter on me, draw, or Benthic Biomance, those kind of things as well. So keep in mind that, or just ones that care about their power, ones that care about how many counters they have on them. Also, on top of that, at the beginning of your end step, untap each creature you control a counter on it. So it's another benefit for just getting counters on your creatures. Now, keep in mind that can be, I mean, any kind of counter. Doesn't have to be +1/+1 counters. So obviously it can benefit from this, can benefit from, you know, keyword counters, -1/-1 counters as well. You know, any other kinds of counters essentially. Untapping creatures. This could work really well with mana dorks, obviously, especially ones that tap for a ton of mana. So yeah, keep that in mind. Being able to just untap all those at the beginning of your end step, not each end step. So it's more like Wilderness Reclamation than it is like Seedboard Muse, but still very, very good. This, yeah, it's a low to the ground Simic commander that can untap. That seems good, and distribute a lot of counters. This one's definitely got some potential. And yes, I do like seeing Simic commanders that aren't just, hey, lands, hey, draw. This one's at least a bit different from that. This is, hey, counters, casting things from other, you know, on top of your library, exile, graveyard, wherever we're going to cast them from. And also untap shenanigans. Who doesn't love untap shenanigans? I mean, I love untap shenanigans. Anyways, moving on. The fourth Doctor. So taking a couple steps back, couple seasons back probably, quite a while back. 4/4 Time Lord Doctor, 4/2 in Simic colors as well. You may look at top card of your library anytime. That's always nice, being able to just see what's on top of your library. Once each turn, you may play a historic land or cast a historic spell from top of your library. When you do, create a food token, artifacts, legendary sagas, or historic. So this one actually pairs well with the other Doctor, which is interesting. This one does, I mean, being able to see the top of your library is very, very nice. It helps you understand if you want to do certain actions. Again, like, okay, like I kind of emergency want to draw a card. Oh, do I need to get rid of something that's on the board right now? Do I have anything on top of my library that could help? Cool, I'll brainstorm, I'll draw, you know, I'll get rid of that, whatever it is. Being able to just, you know, mill yourself as well, like Ghoul Caller's Bell type effects that are repeatable to say like, oh, cool, it's just land on top. I already have plenty of lands. I don't need any more lands. Let's just, you know, mill that, exile with Pixels of Pandemonium, those kinds of things as well, repeatable effects that can be great. On top of that, yeah, hey, being able to play off the top of your library if there are historic lands, which is interesting, and like artifact lands, I guess there is a saga land too. But yeah, being able to play historic lands or historic spells off the top of your library, being able to cast, you know, those historic spells. So yeah, you can go like legendary tribal with this. Also, just artifacts could work with this. I mean, obviously, again, it says once each turn, not just on your turn. So yeah, Vidalcan Ori is kind of huge for a deck like this. Those kinds of cards that say, you know what, just play whenever. Just play whenever. We're getting more and more of those types of effects that can help with artifacts, like Shimmermere, essentially, those kinds of effects. That one, Battle Thopter, whatever that one is, too. So yeah, you probably, if you want to go for, you know, high value with this, you're probably going to go, you know, artifact-centric and utilize cards like those, maybe 2 different cards like those, get them out, ensure that you can play on every single player's turn, because, again, yeah, you're already making an artifact as well, so you can benefit even more from things like, you know, Blink Mother and those kind of things too. So definitely an interesting commander. Again, one that can be utilized in a lot of different ways. I guess Ghoul Caller's Bell Pick Spinner, those are also artifacts. So yeah, I'd probably go artifacts. I mean, others might go, you know, you can go sagas, you can go legendaries, whatever you want to do. You can go a combination of all of them. Whatever you want to do, just, yeah, have fun with this one. Anyways, moving on. Sarah Jane Smith. So this is actually quite interesting because, hey, Doctor's Companion. Let's go through that first. At the bottom of the card, Doctor's Companion, you can have 2 commanders if the other is the Doctor. So, yeah, I did not realize that we were getting partners with these. And now, essentially, you can just be like, yeah, cool, let's just, like, make the colors what I want them to be. So you can essentially, I'm guessing all the Doctors are going to be 2 colors or less. Could be wrong on that. We've maybe even gotten a Doctor that's more. I don't know. Anyways, did I already talk about a Doctor, or is that not a Doctor? I don't know. Anyways, being able to add an additional color is pretty crazy, and just being able to add a partner that can have a really cool effect, like this one, 2/1 Human Detective for 1 and a white. Whenever you cast a historic spell, investigate, but it triggers only once each turn. And yeah, again, that Doctor's Companion. So this one, again, really pairs well with the last Doctor I just talked about. And again, now you're, instead of just in Simic, you are in Bant as well. Giving it access to another color is fantastic. This one also cares about historic spells. So yeah, I mean, that's obviously fantastic. It triggers only once each turn. So yeah, now you also make clues, and being able to, again, if you have Vidalcan Ori, those kinds of things that can really help out with this as well. A good partner commander for one of your Doctors. So yeah, definitely a good way to, well, kind of like the backgrounds in a way. I mean, the partners are always like that, but being able to just add a different color to it and say like, yeah, we're also going to get that color in this different effect, which is going to be fantastic. Again, these are more specific. Doctor's Companion is more like, gosh, what they have in Stranger Things, like Bestest Friends or whatever it was. So yeah, being able to just be more specific and not like broader, so it's not just like, hey, partner with anything. No, this is very specific on what I can partner with. Next up, Rose Tyler, yet another Doctor's Companion. 2/2 human for 1 and a white, +1/+1 for each time counter on it. Bad Wolf, whenever Rose Tyler attacks with a time counter on it for each suspended card you own, and each other permanent you control with a time counter on it. That's quite nice. Yeah, if you're working with a suspend deck, if you got other time counters out there, yeah, you can make this hit pretty hard at a certain point. So I'm sure we're gonna see some doctors out there that actually suspend. So I don't think that one wasn't a doctor. That very first one wasn't a doctor that I talked about, that alien thing or whatever, that head of bow or whatever it was. But yeah, I'm sure we're gonna see more suspend. That seems like a very Doctor Who thing, playing with time, that kind of stuff. Moving on. Yasmin Khan, a 3/3 human detective for 3 and a red. Tap, exile the top card of your library until your next end step. You may play it. So that's great impulse draw. That's pretty fantastic. And that's just repeatable on a tap effect. Again, works well with a commander that likes to untap. And again, this does have Doctor's Companion. So yeah, you can pair this with probably, again, the Doctor that untaps. So there you go. That just, I guess that would be, gosh, why is my brain not working right now with the 3 colors? Simic plus red. Gosh, my brain really is not working with that right now, but oh gosh, comment below. That's gonna bug me. Why am I missing that? Kanzatar here, help me. Anyways, being able to untap this and tap it again can obviously give you a lot of crazy good effects, and just being able to say, yeah, let's go top library, top library, top library, and just keep getting more and more impulse draw to get the cards that you need. Again, benefit from casting things from exile as well. Yeah, a really, really cool effect. Absent? No, what am I doing? Oh goodness, it's just Teamer. Why could I not think about that? Everyone was screaming in the comments below, Teamer, it's Teamer! Sorry. Anyways, moving on. Lots of cards, lots of things to think about. Foretold Soldier, a 6/6 alien zombie soldier, because that's the thing, for 4 mana in total in green. Must be blocked if able. Can't be blocked by more than one creature, so hey, just singling out creatures, be like, yeah, you only got one creature, cool, block, gone. Only one creature, so it's pretty protected in combat. If your opponent doesn't have something, big enough to take it out, or Death Touch or whatnot, they're not gonna be able to take it out. When it deals combat damage, exile it face down, it becomes Foretold. Weird. That's really weird. So again, and you can foretell it for 1 and a green again. That basically means you exile it and you can cast it for its cost -2. That's very strange. That's really interesting. I don't know if you've ever seen something that kind of like re-foretells itself, but that's an interesting concept. So it's kind of like, okay, get it out. Again, it's undercosted. It's a 6/6 for 4, although I guess undercosted these days is like a stretch because we've got some pretty crazy things. Regardless, just, yeah, swing, cool. Yeah, it has to be blocked. Take out a creature, cool. All right, that gets taken out. And then all of a sudden, it's like, okay, it's gone. And then you have to recast it, but you recast it for 2 mana instead of 4. And then, yeah, it's back into play. Cool. Do it again and again and again. This can really play well with certain things that are like a Warstorm Surge is my first kind of thought about that. Like, okay, cool. It's just like recasting it for cheaper and getting whatever ETBs you want to get from it that you have in play, like Great Henge. Warstorm Surge is an amazing one. Obviously, 6 damage, whatever you want. So, yeah, it's got some potential with certain things. It's pretty strange, pretty interesting, pretty weird. But, yeah, Alien Zombie Soldier. Who knew? Anyways, moving on. Fort Knox. I don't know what this is referring to. Anyways, enchant for 2 and a white, vanishing 4. Vanishing is a very old, weird mechanic. Enters the battlefield 4 time counters on it. Beginning of your upkeep, remove a time counter from it. The last one is remove, sacrifice it. So again, time counters, I mean, with this, suspend cards as well. Obviously work well with that Doctor's Companion we talked about earlier. But yeah, not surprised to see vanishing in this, I guess, because it does work well with time. Behavior pre-combat main phase, draw a card. Who says mono white can't draw? Wizards is finally giving mono white some ways to draw. It's just that Wizards really isn't giving too many that aren't like rare or mythic. Wizards. Sorry, I'm complaining right now about this when you're giving me more card draw. But yeah, you need to make more like uncommon and common draws. Okay? Thank you. Yeah, regardless, this is kind of like a, I mean, I'm not going to say like Phyrexian Arena, but like, hey, you get basically like 4 draws out of it essentially, I think. I mean, yeah, I mean, pre-combat main phase. No, I mean, I get 3, 4. I mean, the vanishing 4, but you know what I mean. You get to draw a good amount with it. So yeah, you're basically, just delayed drawing a couple of cards. Obviously, if you got ways to get more time counters on this, if you have a proliferate deck, yeah, you can just keep drawing with this again and again and again, put in your Traxa deck, whatever. Yeah, just proliferate. You're gonna be able to get more counters on it and be able to just keep it in play perpetually, essentially. So yeah, there's definitely a good amount of potential for this card. It just depends on the deck. Next up, City of Death. Sagas are back, apparently, with Doctor Who as well. 4/2 and a green, the first lore counter Great Treasure token. Great, Wizards. Treasures, we needed more of those. Thanks, Wizards. Appreciate it. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 are all the exact same thing for lore counters. Create a token that's a copy of target non-saga token you control. I can see why they put that, because that could get quite out of control. If you like a token copy of this, you could just like keep going and like populate it out, just not in probably infinitely. Yeah, anyways, being able to make token copies of non-saga tokens, that's tough to say, then yeah, that can be a very powerful thing. Obviously, you're just set up to do it with treasures. If you don't utilize that treasure right away, or if it doesn't get dealt with, you can just populate that one. Again, you make 6 treasures over 6 turns, essentially. With this, that's pretty good value. I mean, it does take a while to do that. Obviously, though, for non-saga tokens, that's basically any other token, unless you're, making tokens of sagas. Yeah. Getting a free copy, I mean, you already paid for it, but a free copy every single turn of a token can be brutal, can be so effective. Yeah, it could go anywhere from like, oh, it's cool, it's a 2/2 bear or whatever, to like a 10/10 Eldrazi. So yeah, you can do some crazy things with this. And yeah, just creating 6 treasures, that's not bad at all. Anyways, moving on, yet another one, the 11th hour, another saga for 3 in a blue. The first one, search live for a doctor card, reveal it, put in your hand, then shuffle. Keep in mind, this will go get you doctors. It will also go get you, shapeshifters, changelings. So keep that in mind. Second one, create a food token in a 1/1 white human creature token with doctor spells cost 1 cast. You cast cost 1 to cast. There we go. So reduction. So yeah, obviously being able to have like a doctor tribal deck, this could be coming really handy. The third one is create a token that's a copy of target creature, except it's a legendary alien named Prisoner Zero. I have no idea what that means. But yeah. There you go. Prisoner Zero is apparently now a thing in Magic, and yeah, definitely a thing in Doctor Who that I don't know about. But yeah, being able to make a token copy of a creature, making it into this other thing, that can be pretty fantastic. Again, a lot of value for 4 mana, again, for the right deck. Yeah, probably a Doctor Tribal deck, so want to really use this, or I guess Shapeshifter Tribal could use it too. Next up, Death in Heaven. That's foreboding. For 3 and a black. The first one, the second one are going to be target player mills 2 cards and exiles their graveyard, so it's good graveyard hate against, reanimator decks, against self-mill decks, those kind of things as well. Third lore counter, put all creature cards exile with Death into Heaven on the battlefield face down on your control. They're 2/2 Cyberman artifact creatures. I already talked about Cyberman earlier, which is interesting. So like, yeah, just put like face down creatures, but then make sure it's a 2/2 Cyberman, I guess. I don't know. Anyways, being able to potentially get, exile with this, it does say 4 creatures essentially. This could be a good amount of value. This is, for the specific deck, that could be interesting. All cards exile with this specifically, yeah, and only milling 2 each time. You might not hit anything, you might hit a couple, you might get an army of it. Have fun with that. Here's the Cyberman, I believe. Yeah, there we go. 2/2 Cyberman. It does have reminder text on it. You can cover a face down creature that's become a Cyberman with this reminder card. It's a 2/2 Cyberman artifact creature, which is actually interesting because technically that's true but not true. Not to be technical, Wizards, but there are ways to give creature types to the things. So if you're like, hey, yeah, I've got my changeling spell that makes your things into, every creature type. It's like, oh, okay, cool. You've got a face down morph over there, and now it's a Cyberman. I mean, this is just, I guess that would work still. I don't know. It wouldn't be an artifact creature, though. That's getting too specific. You're fine, Wizards. You're doing fine. Thanks for putting that reminder text on there for players. Anyway, moving on. I think this is the final one, actually. Oh, nope. Let me skip one. The Flux. Here we go. 2 red. Yet another saga. The first one is 4 damage to target creature opponent controls. Nice. So removal for a mid-power creature, essentially. 2, 3, 4, 5 are going to be the exact same thing. Exit top card library. Play a card this turn. Keep in mind it's this turn, not next end step or whatever it is. So yeah, different. This is like the shorter impulse draw. Still good card advantage, a temporary card advantage still. And then the last one, which is the 6th one, adds 6 red. That's a lot of mana. So you're getting more mana out of this than you actually put into it. You're getting, good temporary card advantage. You're getting removal. A lot of value out of this 4 mana saga. Moving on, I think this is the final one. I might have jinxed myself by saying that earlier. Anyways, Time Lord regeneration, single blue mana, instant until on turn, target Time Lord you control gains. And I think they actually mentioned Time Lord is itself like a creature type. Like Time Lord is a creature type. Gains, when this creature dies, 0 cards to the top of your library to reveal a Time Lord creature card, put that card on the battlefield, and the rest of the bottom of your library in random order. This card is incredibly specific. Yeah, if you've got a Time Lord tribal deck or whatnot, cool. Or if you've got like, hey, I've got a Chimera that's a Time Lord, and I only got one other Time Lord in this deck, and it's an incredibly powerful one. And basically say 1 mana, hey, get that one out when my creature dies. Cool. Or, yes, again, like I mentioned earlier, changelings. Changelings are every single creature type, including Time Lords now, apparently, which, Wizard says, I think it's the first 2-word creature type, so there you go. But, yeah, being able to get, your changeling off the top of your library for a single mana when they die. Cool. Again, very, very specific card. Probably not going to see a lot of play outside of just very, very specific decks, but, yeah, it's a very interesting one. Regardless, I think that is, the marathon is over for now. I think that is every single card that has been revealed in Doctor Who, except for, I think it was River was the name for the actual first episode I did on these. Because, yeah, again, I was very ambitious when I started that. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to do quick takes. I was like, oh, my gosh, there's so many. There's so many. So, yeah, Wizards just a deluge of spoilers today, even though we just had a spoiler season. Goodness, Wizards, slow down, please. People are trying to keep up, and it's just basically impossible for any of us. Yeah, anyways, regardless, let me know in the comments what your thoughts are on all these. What is your favorite one of these cards? What are you most excited for? What commander are you most excited out of all these? Are you going to be building around one of these? Let me know in the comments what your thoughts are on these. And of course, as always, we'll stay tuned to this channel for more exciting quick takes and spoilers. And as always, thanks again, and have a good one. This show and episodes like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. If you're looking for an easy way to help support this show, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Also, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any new episodes. You can also go check out our playmats and other merchandise at thecommandersquarters.com. We also have a ton of brand new t-shirt designs in stock, so make sure you check out those as well. Another easy way to support this show is with our TCG Player affiliate links. So whether you're buying a deck or individual cards, you can use this general link right here or one in the description. And the final way that you can support this show is by supporting us directly by becoming a patron. There are many benefits to being a patron, and I truly couldn't do this without all of their support.